Hi. I thought today we would do something a little bit different. I don't have a whole lot to talk to you about specifically gardening, other than remember if you're in zone 5 or 6 and you're going to plant your cucumbers or melons inside, this is the week that you should start doing that. You still have plenty of time to get going on that. And then next week is going to be your squashes and your pumpkins. But I thought I would show you a little bit about what a day might look like for me, or a day in April. So what I have going on here is I have microgreens that I'm starting today. Pretty much as soon as we start running out of microgreens, I start to make another batch. They're wonderful in salads. I don't use them for much other than in salads, but I know people make smoothies out of them. Again, they're extremely nutrient dense and really good for you, high in antioxidants. So if you're looking for a diet that is high in antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, adding these to your diet is a really good thing to do. And while there is a cost to get started into it, it really isn't that much to move on once you've got your trays and the growing medium that you might need. Now, what I'm starting here today are peas. These are beautiful and taste just like you're eating a pea. It's just that it's the stalk of the plant. I've tried growing it in the growing medium that you see here. This is a hemp or jute mat, and just doesn't really work very well. Now, the peas are different than anything else that I grow because I can trim these and then come back a week later and there'll be more. Everything else is pretty much a cut and you're done. And then the soil goes outside in the garden, in the compost, or something like that. Now, the jute mats are also biodegradable, but they take forever. You can put these in your garden, but if you do, I recommend that you cut them up into small pieces. I think it would really help with water retention. Now you can see that this is wet and getting wetter. I'm just wanting this entire jute mat to be saturated before I put in my seeds. And today I'm going to do half kohlrabi and half radish. And that's going to make for a little bit of a spicy, peppery blend. So that'll be nice on the salads. And so that's it for this part. And we'll go downstairs and I'll show you the next part of my day. So for the next part of my day, I'm going to spend quite a bit of time watering the trays of plants that I have. I just counted them. I have 29 trays of plants here at this house, and I have 5 trays at my brother's house. I'm going to be planting a large garden over there, so as the plants are ready to go, I will take them to his house and put them under his grow lights, and then later we'll actually plant those in the garden space available there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do after watering is I'm going to transplant some tomatoes. I'm almost done transplanting the tomatoes that I have. I grew far too many with the experiment that we had, and because I double seeded some seed cells after my first time of planting failed to germinate. So I was paranoid. I put 2 seeds in per cell and everything germinated. The other thing that I might transplant are Brussels sprouts, and I have some broccoli that I might transplant. Now, it is way cheaper if you can just leave these in the seed cells that you originally plant them in. Because now if you transplant them, you have more soil to use, you have another container to use. But for plants like kale, collards, broccoli, eggplant, my determination on whether I'm going to transplant this type of plant is if my seed cells get so dry that they're always dry and I can never get enough water on them. That just means they're really root bound and it's time for them to have a new home. So again, it does cost you more just because you're using more soil, but it's better for the plant to be transplanted in those situations. And now we're going to go outside and I'm going to show you some projects that I'm up to. Now, this is my container garden, and I have about 40 containers in here. And over the weekend, we dug out the soil from each of these containers and mixed the old soil with about half new soil. And then I planted a few of these. We'll go inside in a minute. I'll show you what I planted. The other thing that is new here is I've put this fence up. I built the fence and now I have everything but the final door done. And I did that because we have sandhill cranes here that love to dig around in the containers. Good for the cranes, not so good for the plants. And then we also have a rabbit that will eat the beans and a few other things. And the other day I saw a groundhog. So I'm really glad that I built this fence this year. We did have a makeshift fence that kept the cranes out last year, but it didn't keep anything else out. And so it's going to be really life-changing. So I'll show you what we planted. All right, well, right now I have 10 out of 40 of my containers used. And what we've planted is arugula. You can see a lot of green there. Beets, radish, lettuce, spinach. What you see here is actually parsnips from last year. And one day we're going to pull all of those and have a nice parsnip dinner. That will then allow this bin to be used again. And that's going to be the same with some of the other items. The spinach will come and go pretty quickly and we'll be able to plant something else in that. So we're going to rotate this summer. Another thing you see here is black mustard. I've been playing with a little bit of different types of mustard, but I transplanted these yesterday and they're doing great. They are a cold tolerant plant and so they're fine to transplant right now. And then we've got some beets here. I also planted carrots and turnip greens. So we've got a good start to the garden. It looks like the spinach is coming up. There's a little bit of lettuce coming up. So we've got to wait on those radishes and carrots and turnips and beets. Those always take a little bit longer. And so that's what we're doing inside the fence right now. Later this summer there will be kale, probably Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and a few other things. Now this is something I'm really excited about. Last year I bought a seed packet of 100 asparagus seeds, Mary Washington asparagus seeds, and I planted every single last one of them. I honestly didn't think I'd have any because my cat kept eating the seedlings, but they persisted. And this year I now have at least 20 or 25 asparagus shoots that are just starting to come up. I believe there will be more. Now this is their second year, and so I can't actually eat this asparagus until next year. If I were to harvest this asparagus, it would take too much from the roots to actually make it produce again next year. So this was a space in my garden that absolutely nothing would grow. And asparagus, it seems to love the worst soil in the world. And so I thought, why not plant that space with asparagus? Now, a person not as adventurous as me could say, why would you buy seeds when you can just buy the rootstock for the asparagus? That's a very good question, because then instead of waiting 3 years, you only have to wait till the second year. So we'll go on to the next project. Now each year for the last several years I've been expanding my raised beds here. And this year is no exception to the rule. I ordered 4 yards of soil. This is the largest 4 yards of soil I've ever seen. I'm grateful for it, and we'll find places for it. But it's a little more than I thought. So I wonder what kind of trouble I can get in with this. I'm going to show you now where I'm going to put this, or at least part of it. Now this is part of the reason I love being outdoors and in the garden so much. You never know what you're going to find. This is a little painter turtle, or paint turtle. We live on a marsh here, so we get a lot of turtles in the yard, especially this time of year. We get box turtles and snapping turtles. And they're all up here to do one thing, and that's to lay their eggs. And so I'm excited to see her here, and hoping I'm not scaring her too much. She's putting her head out a little bit, so getting kind of curious about me. So I don't think she's afraid of me. If she is, I'm not sure, but she's pretty curious. So anyway, I'm going to let her get back to laying her eggs, and we'll move forward. Oh my goodness. It's going to be a special day, folks, because not one paint turtle, but 2 paint turtles. You'll see this with the snapping turtles as well. If there's one in the yard, there's going to be more. I'm not sure what triggers these guys to say, hey, let's go lay our eggs today. I do know with the snapping turtles, it's often a thunderstorm, but I'm not sure with the paint turtles. Now I bought all that soil just to fill in these 5 raised beds. We decided to grow Roma tomatoes this year. It's something that we haven't dabbled in. We've grown plenty of canning tomatoes and cherry tomatoes, but this year I want to experiment more with sauces and maybe even drying some tomatoes, and so we are adding this. Now we are going to have to take off this back wall of this fence, and I'm going to add 6 feet to either side and then put the back wall back on. Here at my house, I have a marsh to the right, and it is really hard to grow anything without protecting it. With that said, this is a 3-foot wall. A deer can easily jump that, and if a rabbit really wanted to get into it, it could. So far, I haven't had any rabbits jump in there, and the deer don't seem to find what I grow in this area appealing. I do grow garlic and tomatoes in this. Now, technically, you should be rotating where you grow your tomatoes. But honestly, I'm so afraid to grow anything else in this garden because it's away from the house and more appealing for the deer. If I grew collards or kale or any of those nice vegetative plants, I'm pretty sure the deer and the rabbits would both be in here. And so we risk it every year, and we continue to plant tomatoes here. And so that's what I'm up to. And this won't get done today. Maybe the fence will get done today. But otherwise, yeah, that's what I'm up to. Oh, let me show you the marsh, because I keep talking about it. This is was a lake when I moved here. And during the pandemic, we had a 30-year high as far as the water goes. And the whole lower yard was flooded, and we could actually take off in the boat and go out into the lake. And now we can usually kayak for a few weeks in the spring because we're at a 30-year low. I'm hoping we get water back again, but if we don't, it's still an incredibly beautiful place. It brings us a lot of nature, eagles and loons and the sandhill cranes that we love so much, and much, much more. All right, I hope you're having a great day. Look at that sky. Makes me happy.